Hello and welcome to the Healing Insight podcast, episode 25, with me, Sarah Hunt.
And me, Jez Hunt.
Hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here again on such a beautiful sunny afternoon. Well, it is afternoon when we're recording this today. Jeremy's been away on a few days camping, haven't you? And
Yes, I
just
have.
allowing yourself to be. Just tell the listeners a little bit about that experience before we get started.
Yeah, it's kind of more, depending on where you are on the scale of camping, from hate to glamping to prefer a caravan or a bed and breakfast, I guess. But so it wasn't wild camping, which is camping without any facilities other than what you carry with you. So you take your own tent or whatever, and you basically go and find somewhere to camp. Not that, I mean, there are places in Scotland, for example, let's just use that one, where it's legal to camp on any common ground, as long as you don't make a mess. So, but this was actually a campsite that is geared up around that principle. So there was just a fire pit. They did actually have some sort of portaloos, but that was the only facilities that were available. And then it was just a case of we had a fire pit in the woods and just were completely and utterly in the moment, and just spent 3 days really not doing anything other than being with nature, listening to the birds and cooking over an open fire and just relaxing and chilling, and it was just awesome.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds
Indeed.
wonderful. I've had a few days where I've been walking in the woods, so nature seems to be a bit of a theme at the moment, doesn't it? I certainly felt like I've needed to get out into our local woods and walk around some of the different paths around it. Found myself quite deep in the woods at times, thinking,
Yeah.
I need to find my way back out. And of course, Charlie Dog has really enjoyed that, getting that run around in the woods and the cool of the woods as well with the
Yes.
warmth that we've had. It's been really nice to experience that.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we thought we'd have a bit of a chat about crystals. And crystals, I have a love of crystals. Anyone that's been to my house will see crystals absolutely everywhere.
True story.
Crystals are, sorry?
True story.
Yeah, crystals have also been. I've worked with them a lot. I've used crystals in many different ways over the years with my healing work to help people, and to really get some insight and understanding into crystals. I think it's important to understand that everything is energy. And that, you know, we all have a vibration and a frequency because we're energy. When you get down into the nitty gritty of our cells, right down to an atomic level, we've got atoms that are vibrating and they're creating energy. And I'm not the most brilliant of physicists, but but that's my understanding. And so we create this vibration, this frequency of energy, and because everything is energy, we need to be aware that our words are energy, our thoughts are energy, all our actions, there's energy behind them and with them, and that energy can affect people. It can affect ourselves, it can affect other people as well. What I like about crystals is that by having them in your environment, it helps to lift the vibration, it helps to bring in the energies of love, it helps to bring in positive energy to help you feel uplifted. Would you agree with that, Jay, from your experience of sharing a house with me with lots of crystals around?
Yes, definitely. I think maybe an analogy that might help. The way I sort of put this in simple terms is, if you think of it like trees, in that trees take in the carbon dioxide, or plants, it doesn't have to be trees, but trees take in the carbon dioxide and then put out oxygen, they create oxygen, and that to me is what the crystals do, is they take in the negative energy, or the low vibrational energy, and put out positive uplifting vibe energy.
Yes, absolutely. Crystals do need to be kept as clear as possible as
Yeah.
well. So cleansing them is important, and you can do that by running them under a cold tap, just holding the intention that they're cleared of any negativity. I also like to put them out in the sunlight as well, so that and that helps to cleanse them as well. They're probably the key ways that most listeners would be able to clear crystals. In the past, I've put them in salt water or in salt, but it can damage crystals that have been polished. So I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't really recommend that you do that. But you can use rice if you want to clear out negativity from crystals. And those people that have done cosmic heart will just clear them by intention. Um, so crystals, crystals have been around for thousands of years and have been used as ways of helping to heal people for many thousands of years. The way that I've always worked with crystals is with my intuition. So I don't use specific crystals for specific things or specific areas of the body. What I usually do is see if something catches my attention. Am I drawn to a particular crystal? Um, does my intuition tell me that that's what I actually need at this point in time? And crystals, you can have them around your house, as I've said. You can carry them in your pocket. For ladies that don't have pockets, you can tuck them in your bra. And you can wear them as jewelry as well. So I often wear a crystal on a necklace, but I also like to wear crystal bracelets as well to help me with specific things. And what I find is that, as Jeremy was explaining, they draw out the negative energy. They gently do that for you um, without you really being aware of what they're doing. And they then give you that positive energy that they're carrying to help to lift your energy and your vibration and to help you to feel better in yourself.
Yeah, I think it's worth also mentioning that. I mean, obviously, there are thousands of different crystals. I mean, I don't know how many there are, but lots. But some are well known for certain things. So, for example, rose quartz, amethyst, ruby, selenite. So maybe it'd be helpful to listeners just to talk about a few in. So I know you intuit which ones that you need to use
Mm.
for whatever, but rose quartz, for example.
Rose, yes, rose quartz is one for the heart center. So it's to encourage you to love yourself more, to open your heart center up, to be more loving towards others. Because when you love yourself more, it's a lot easier to be more loving towards others. Rose quartz will help to lift anything out of your energy that is affecting your ability to love yourself.
So if you're struggling with self worth or anxiety or depression or something along those
Something along
lines,
those
then
lines. Yes, rose quartz would be good.
could help with that.
Rose quartz can, for some people, they can find that a lot on its own. So, someone with depression, I might suggest that they have rose quartz with aventurine, green aventurine, and carry the two together. They both work on the heart center, but they kind of complement each other and allow things to the negative emotions to lift out more gently than if you were to just use rose quartz on its own. It really depends kind of what kind of place you're actually in at the time. Um, Amethyst is really good if you're feeling very stressed. It
Mm-hmm.
helps to reduce stress levels so that you feel that you're more centered and more able to deal with things. Citrine is a good one for self-esteem, self-worth. It's also a crystal that helps to draw in abundance as well. And abundance to me is more than money. It's
Yeah, yeah.
about bringing abundance into all areas of your life, so that you're creating the life that you truly want. Um, what else? Selenite is a good one to put by technology to soak up the electromagnetic frequencies. Um, Black tourmaline is a good one to put. Is actually a really good one to put on your fuse box for your electricity, um, to just to help with, again, with EMF and the energies that come off the electricity. Um, just trying to think what else you think of, Joe. That
What about things? I'm having to defer to you here. I have a very very limited knowledge
No, that's
of
okay.
crystals, so I can point you in the right direction of what I'm thinking, but you'll have to come up with the answers. So
I'll do my best.
What about things like protection? So if someone's struggling with relationships or I don't know, going outside, being in around other people, or being around negative people, what sorts of things could they use for protection?
Yeah, things like tiger's eye, that's a really good one. And there's different tiger's eye. I love the golden tiger's eye.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful crystal. But there's also a red tiger's eye and a blue tiger's eye.
Oh well.
So tiger's eye, whichever one you feel most drawn to, really. You could also use something like black obsidian. Again, tourmaline, black tourmaline is very good for protection as well. Um, those probably are the key ones that pop into mind for that sort of thing. Something that's just popped into me is, if you get angry or frustrated, then moss agate is a really good one for that. It's very calming. Helps to dispel the anger and the frustration, so that you're able to respond more than react. Um, Salt lamps as well. They're really
Hmm.
good to have in the house. Um, they help to dispel negativity and lift the energy of the room when you've got a salt lamp going. They actually change the ions in the air
Hmm.
from negative to positive, as far as I'm aware. I think that's the right way around. Um, so having a salt lamp sitting around can be really nice as well. And of course, the nice glow that they give off is quite um, relaxing, comforting kind of glow that they give off. Well, I find it anyway when I've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
salt lamps on and my fairy lights on, because I do like fairy lights, and no big lights on. It's a real nice soft light that salt lamps give off. So they're another one that's really good. Salt is also good for clearing negativity as well. So if you've got a lot of negativity in the house, then having salt lamps is a way of clearing that as well. Um, just trying to think what else I've got. I mean, crystals come in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got, and so it doesn't need to be an expensive thing. I think that's important to understand. When you choose a crystal, it doesn't have to be a big one that you have. It can be a small tumble stone. It's more about whether it feels like it's the right one for you than what size it is.
Hmm.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can have a small tumble stone that will do all the work for you, um, better perhaps than maybe a great big statement piece that you've got sitting around the house, which is perhaps more important for doing other things for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then bracelets, that's a really good way of helping you gently to clear things and to feel um, to feel more comfortable with yourself, more confident with yourself. And certainly, I've done bracelets for different people. I actually make bracelets, and I will intuit what crystals are needed. And I had somebody recently who had a lot of pain from an issue in their reproductive system, And so I intuited which crystals she needed in a bracelet, and that bracelet has actually helped to reduce that pain for her, and she certainly feels that it's made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
um I've intuited bracelets for other things for different people, so it can, it's a way of helping with things, helping, and working with crystals can complement any medical treatment that people are having as well. So they'll work together so that you can improve your quality of life in whatever way you want to improve it.
Yeah, I think that's possibly fair to say about a lot of what people regard as alternative methods of healing. Whether even things like homeopathy can work alongside other things.
Yeah,
They don't necessarily have to be exclusive or excluding what we regard as Western modern medicine or anything. If that's
absolutely.
the route you're going down.
And another way to work with crystals is to just hold one in your hand, and palm stones are a really nice um, crystals to do that for, particularly to sit and meditate or just to sit and be.
Yeah.
And if you struggle to meditate, then I've actually found that just by holding a crystal in your hand and taking your focus to that crystal, and just sitting with it will help you to relax a lot more. So a piece of rose quartz or a piece of amethyst in particular are really good to help you to do that. You've also got clear quartz, and clear quartz is known as the master healer, so it's good for absolutely anything and everything. Um, but just sitting with the palm stone, and if you're I've also come across thumb stones. So if you're quite agitated, having a thumb stone is quite useful. It's got kind of like an indentation in it, so you can literally rub your thumb across it,
Oh, right. Oh, so
and that can be quite calming.
it's a bit
Yeah,
like a bit like a sauce, no, a bit like a saucer, but
yeah,
in
that
that
same idea.
it's got like a little hollow in it that your thumb fits
Yes,
in, and you can actually rub your thumb around it. Oh, okay,
yes,
interesting.
yeah. So they're really good for people that get a bit agitated. Um, yeah, so I've mentioned palm stones. The crystals that I've used for healing have been specific ones for, and really all they're what they're doing is um, focusing energy for me
Hmm.
into a specific area. That's where additional um, work's been needing to be done when I've been doing the healing work that I do. Um, but I just love to have crystals around me all the time. I love the feeling of them. I think it's important to understand that crystals are living beings and they have a diva within them. So that's DEVA, not DIVA. And the diva is the soul of the crystal. So what I always do when I get a new crystal is I sit with it quietly and just ask that the crystal and its diva connect with me, and I connect through the heart center um, with the diva, and I send it lots of love, and I ask it to work with me for the highest good of all. So whether that's just working with me myself, or when I'm working with clients or family, it then what I'm doing then is working with that crystal on on a higher level, if you like, and that crystal's working with me to help me, my family, or whoever else that it is that I'm doing the energy work with. So actually taking that time to connect with your crystal in that way will help it to work with you on a much deeper level.
Hmm.
Well,
Excellent. Now, I carry a well, you know this obviously because it was because of you anyway. But I carry a little pouch of crystals around in my pocket, which the crystals have changed over the years and at different times, even in a week or a month, depending, because I intuit what I need to carry around with me as well. What would be a good starting point for someone who's just getting into crystals if they wanted to have just like a selection of crystals that are just going to help them at a very overview sort of level? So not necessarily look for something specific, but something that's just going to help them. I mean, for me, the one that comes straight to mind is rose quartz. Is pretty much good to be
absolutely,
carrying
rose
around
quartz.
anyway for
Mm.
everybody. it's not going to do any harm. And also amethyst, I have amethyst and rose quartz in mine.
Yeah.
So are there, if you think of it as just like a starter kit, if you like,
Yeah.
of things that will just help people with their energy generally, is there sort of like a set of say three or four or five crystals they could get to carry around?
I would suggest, like you said, the rose quartz, and amethyst. Citrine has popped into my head as well, so that one I would feel, and also clear quartz, and then something protective, so maybe tiger's eye or black tourmaline, something like that. The thing with clear quartz is it will amplify the energies of the other ones, so if they're all together, it will amplify them. Um, you may find as well, if you've got that little group of crystals, you might find that you look at them, and the crystals kind of sparkle at me, so I know which ones want to work with me for that day. What I tend to do is look at my bracelets, or I'll look at my crystals and see what I need to carry in my pocket. And certain ones will kind of jump out at me, so they sparkle at me and say, "Oh, Sarah, today it's me." um, and so I'll know that that's the one that I need to work with, or that's the two that need to be with me for today. So you might not need to carry them all with you. You might just find that you just need one that day, or you need two for that day, or you
Hmm.
need the whole group of them, depending on what you're doing, what you feel is right for you. And it is about feeling what's right for you. What feels right for me today? What feels right for me now? What is it that, which ones of these crystals are the ones that I need to be working with, and you're working with them on a subconscious level. So
Yeah.
just carrying them in your pocket is enough. That will allow them to work with you, and to work with you on that subconscious level, to help you clear the negative emotions out that you don't need.
Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of people getting hold of crystals, so we've talked about different crystals, and you've said that it doesn't necessarily matter the size of the crystal, it's more about whether it resonates with you, whether you feel it's the right crystal for you. Now, there are different places. I mean, I know you have you sell crystals and you sell bracelets and things, obviously, as you've mentioned, but it doesn't have to be, there are crystal shops out there, or you can get them on eBay or Etsy, or so they're quite easily available, aren't they?
Yes, crystals are very easily available, and certainly I have an Etsy page, but some stuff people can buy directly from me. And we'll leave the Etsy details in the show notes
Yeah.
for today. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. There seems to be a decline in actual crystal shops these days, that you can go in, and I always used to love to go into a crystal shop and feel the energy of the crystals. I would pick them up and feel it and feel, is this one to come home with me, or is this one to stay here? Um, uh, so there does seem to be a decline in crystal shops, but if you get the opportunity to go into a crystal shop, then go into a crystal shop.
Hmm.
Um, and you can get them on eBay, you can get them on Etsy. There are people that do, I've seen people doing lives on Facebook where they're selling crystals. There are lots of places online where you can get crystals as well. So it's really a case of doing a search. But when you do a search, and of course, the thing with online is you're not actually seeing the finished
Sure.
product until it actually arrives. Um, but it is just, going with what feels right, and do you feel drawn to that person's um crystals that they're selling as well. Don't just buy them because that's the type that you want, but actually feel it. Does this feel like the right person to buy these crystals from? Is this the right person to get the crystal jewelry from? Or do I need to look a bit further? And you can, when you're doing a search, you can actually ask to be guided to the right person with the right crystals for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've used that before myself.
Yeah, so have I. And it's like, okay, I need such and such. Please show me where I can get this from. And then I'll do a search and it will pop up, and there it is, exactly what I need.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the way that I would suggest that people look for um crystals. And it's also just feeling whether you want tumble stones, whether you want something a bit bigger, whether you want a necklace, whether you want a bracelet, whether you want a necklace and bracelet that kind of complement each other, you know, because there's lots of different ways that you can work with crystals.
Sure.
And also depending on what you want them for. So, you know, if you want crystals to meditate with, then you want something that's going to be comfortable in your hand, whether that's just a tumble stone or whether it's something a bit bigger like the palm stones that I was talking about. But you want something that's going to be comfortable to hold. Whereas um, it might be that you don't particularly want to meditate with them, but you want them easy to carry.
Mm-hmm.
So then tumble stones or wearing a bracelet. And men can wear bracelets as well as women. So
Yeah.
with crystals, and I certainly know a few men that wear crystal bracelets. So, but also you can get crystals that men can wear as well. So I personally tend to wear a crystal heart of some sort, and a man might not want to wear a crystal heart, but they might be happy with a crystal that's like got a slight point on it. So um,
So more
you
like a
know,
teardrop sort of shape.
no,
Or
not necessarily. Well, possibly. I mean, certainly, I've some of the necklaces that I sell are teardrop shape, but I'm thinking more of a crystal point, just a very small crystal point.
okay.
Um, that they can wear. It just depends on the person really, and what you feel comfortable with, what feels right for you to wear.
Okay. Another question that's just popped into mind. Obviously, listeners can contact either of us, you particularly if they want specifics about crystals, maybe. But is there a book that you would recommend that just gives from a healing energy point of view that just would be a good place for someone to start if they really wanted to start to understand and connect with crystals and understand what they can do and things like that?
Um, yeah, to get some understanding of crystals, probably the Crystal Bible by Judy Hall is the best place to start because it will give you some insight into what the different crystals do. And
Mm-hmm.
you can look up, you've got anxiety, so you can look up which crystals would help you with that. You can find a lot of information online these days as well. Judy Hall's got three different books, I feel, but the first one would be the best one for kind of beginners to have handy to look at crystals.
Okay. Again, we can put a link to that in the show notes, that in case anyone wants to look that up.
Yeah. Um, I can't really think of any other books off the top of my head.
That's okay. I wanted to put you on the spot and see what came up.
I mean, originally I did when I first started working with crystals, I did a course with the British School of Yoga, a distance learning course on crystals to give me a starting place. But as I've developed, I've just worked more and more intuitively with them and kind of
Sure.
thrown the books away, and 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 just been asked to be shown how best to work with the crystals. And so it's really down to what feels right for you. I feel is what's important.
Yeah. Okay. No, interesting topic. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly people that just do crystal healing around. Again, if you want to have a crystal healing, if you want to experience a crystal healing, um, look around for somebody, but go to who you feel drawn to.
Yeah.
Go to who feels right for you. I think I do feel that's important. But having a crystal healing can be very relaxing, and it will help to clear negative energies out for you. Um,
I think that's a valid point for any form of healing or even coaching. You know, go to someone who you're drawn to. Don't just go to someone necessarily that's just because they're local. By all means, go and find out about them, but just go with what you're drawn to or who you're drawn to, should I say. I think that's an important thing
yeah,
for
I think that's
anything.
really important actually with anything that you're doing. It needs to be who you're really drawn to, who
Yeah.
feels right for you.
Because as we've said
Mm.
in previous episodes, your intuition knows. Your
Yes, your
intuition.
intuition does know. It does know, and that's the same with working with crystals. Your intuition will tell you exactly which ones you need. So it is important to learn to listen to your intuition and to go with what feels right for you. And if a particular bracelet or a particular crystal is calling you, then work with it, go with it, and see how it changes things for you, and just kind of, I think it's important to look at how you were before you started working with that crystal, and then you can look a few weeks down the road and
Yeah.
think, oh gosh, actually, yes, I can see some changes here. Things are changing. It is helping me. It's
Yeah.
always worth looking back from where you started to where you've got now.
Look back to see how far you've come.
Absolutely. So,
Excellent. Well, thank you.
so yeah. So crystals, one of my passions, one of the things I really love to work with. So if anybody's got any questions about crystals, wants any guidance with how to work with crystals, then do feel free to get in touch and I will do my best to help you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you too. And so um, that's another great session. I've really enjoyed talking to you about crystals. And I'm sure we can do some more at a later date because there's a lot that you can do with crystals that we haven't really mentioned here. But really, this is just to get people um, thinking about the possibility of working with some crystals.
Yeah.
So, um, on that note, thank you very much, Jay, and it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.